Mark and Julie Dalrymple have been longtime members of the Hurd Museum, living in the Bay Area, but have traveled extensively in the Southwest, beginning in 1989. Mark, who has passed away, was a recording engineer with Stanford University's music department and the Memorial Church on the campus. Julie's career is as a librarian in the Santa Clara County Library System. In talking about how they became collectors, Julie said that they like three-dimensional, useful work, and that they too were makers. Mark having assembled sound equipment, Julie making jewelry. And, you know, I found that people who are makers, who make things as a hobby, not necessarily professionally, are very attuned to sometimes the challenges that artists have. And they understand that at a very good level that just doesn't necessarily exist if you don't make things. And it doesn't matter if they're making the same thing or not. So I just love the way Julie characterized themselves as makers. I first became aware of the collection when Julie called us at the end of June in 2019. Had a wonderful conversation with her, and it was entirely clear that this was a collection that we wanted to know more about. So the very next day, she sent a listing of their collection that had so much information. It was just so rich, we knew we wanted to know more about these pieces. I believe there were more than 500 textiles listed. It wasn't just textiles, but more than 500 Navajo textiles listed. So our director, David Roast, happened to be traveling over to the Bay Area in mid-September. So he stopped in to visit Julie and was so impressed with the collection that it became entirely clear that we would want this. So he came back and said that we needed to move very quickly because Julie was going to be relocating. So within a week, Marcus Menenricut, who is in the education department now, but used to be in curatorial, and Juan Ozuna, who is with the shop, in one day drove over to the Bay Area to Julie's. The next day, they packed the entire collection. And the following day, they loaded the van and drove straight back to the Hurd Museum. It was very impressive. Navajo weaving is so deep and wide. Deep in terms of time, its history, wide in terms of incredible range of creativity that exists. It was clear that this acquisition added to our existing collection so much in terms of large textile gifts to the collection. We have the Fred Harvey Fine Arts Collection that is very deep from 1850 to 1900. Now, the original Hurd collection is strongest in the first 2 decades of the 20th century. Then you have the Reed Mullen collection that is very strong mid-century. It has fabulous pieces where you know the names of the weavers. And this is where you start to get names of weavers. Then we have the Santa Fe collection that was given by Linda and Charles Rimmer, and that's late 20th century. And so the Dalrymple collection, with its wonderful depth in the first 2 decades of the 21st century, fits so beautifully into the stories that we want to tell about Navajo weaving. As the Mellon Fellows and I looked at the names of these weavers and the potential for contacting them, we really saw the possibility of learning what the weavers wanted us to know. So often when you look at a textile, often the old ones where you don't know the name of the weaver, you really wish you could hear from that weaver. But as we started building contact information based on the good information that the Dalrymples gave us, we felt we had to try to make the connections at least. Julie was kind enough to write a story of their collection for the next edition of Earth Song. And it's a wonderful essay. As she talked about how their collection had grown, it started to remind me of a snowball rolling downhill. It's getting bigger and bigger and faster and faster. She mentioned 2013, and this is a quote. She said, sometime that year, we ran out of space on our walls. What to do? I suggested that if we call ourselves collectors, we could buy more rugs and rotate them on the walls. Yay! She put that yay in. I thought it was great. When people collect, they're collecting more than the art. They're collecting their shared experiences, the times on the trips they had, the people they met, fun they had meeting artists. For a lot of collectors, it's something they put their hearts into, and it comes through very clearly when Julie is talking about their collection. And I'm looking forward to sharing that with our visitors in the exhibition.